The other side is far more diligent about looking for that Messiah than we are, because they know where to look. You probably wonder, why do white people pay so much attention to black people if they don't like them?
Does it bother you that you think about black men so much more than they will ever think about you?
You would think if you didn't like something, why would you be paying attention to it? I don't pay attention to things I don't like.
Well, everybody's official. I filed a formal complaint in the federal courthouse against Al Sharpton and Crump.
The liar knows what lie he told.
Inability to read and write at an adult level.
You see what I'm saying? So even if I made it deceitful and I made you think that the answer is over here, but the answer is really over here, I'm still gonna be looking over here. Me, the one that tricked, because I know this is the right answer. Black people have lost their identity, but our oppressors have not lost our identity.
We ain't letting them take our women no more. That's over with, I'm telling y'all.
White men are jealous of black men.
65 IQ?
Shut up. These are the kinds of people you may see in the gym throwing weights because they're extremely frustrated, and the same behavior can happen at a construction site. When someone is struggling to solve a problem and starts throwing tools out of frustration, they want people to believe that we are slow or lazy because they know that if they are left alone, we have the ability to succeed and take control of our own future. Whoever did this to Nolan Wells, the spirit of the ancestors is being called upon because more people are now stepping forward and sharing what they experienced growing up around individuals they describe as fake friends and dangerous influences. People across the internet are speaking openly about what they believe is happening in their communities, and credit should go to those willing to show their faces and speak honestly about their experiences. At the same time, some white people are also coming forward and warning others that certain situations can become dangerous, and that people should trust their instincts when something does not feel right. There are also questions being raised about Nolan Wells' relationships with certain women and whether his friendships with particular people were completely genuine or whether there may have been other motivations involved. Some people are connecting these questions to his family background and wondering whether his personal preferences played a role in the people he chose to associate with. Of course, these are only allegations and speculation, and there is no confirmed evidence proving that Nolan Wells was involved with anyone for those reasons. But the discussion continues online with people from different backgrounds sharing their opinions and asking viewers to look closely at the circumstances and consider all sides of the story.
Right here, y'all.
I'm about to tell you exactly what the fuck happened to Nolan Wells. I could put any money in the fucking world. See, I hung out with a lot of white people like that in high school. And although I am white myself, I certainly am not one of them. But I did have the pleasure of being their friend, and I guess that came with being the butt of every joke and enjoying the finer things in life. But this is textbook. I can give you a fucking play-by-play, I promise you. See, what had happened was, they were getting rowdy, whatever the case may be, drinking all day. Something happened, malicious or not, doesn't really fucking matter, and those boys saw him take his last breath. I guarantee you that. They had an oh fuck moment, got scared, left him, drove the boat off, went home, told mommy and daddy. Mommy and daddy told him to shut the fuck up and got him over. It's textbook. Again, I saw this shit happen over and over again growing up. This is how they fucking operate every single motherfucking time. You wanna know what happened to Nolan Wells? Go ask some boys. Problem is now you gotta drag it through court because they lawyered up. But they fucking know.
And when you hear the father speaking during his press conference and reporters ask questions like whether he believes race had anything to do with what happened, you can see him carefully choosing his words and avoiding making a direct statement about race. He may simply be trying to focus on his child and avoid making assumptions before all the facts are known, because saying that race played a role could quickly turn the conversation into another argument about racism and division when someone is already dealing with the loss of a loved one. The last thing they may want is for their words to become a political or racial controversy, especially when they're speaking publicly in front of major news networks. So instead of making a definitive claim, he appears to be trying to keep the focus on what happened and allow the investigation to determine the facts. This is often how public figures and grieving families respond when sensitive questions are raised on camera, because every statement can be taken out of context and used to support a completely different narrative. At the end of the day, people can have their own opinions about whether race played any role, but the most important thing is to separate confirmed information from speculation and allow the available evidence to speak for itself.
Goes, y'all.
Well, everybody's official. I filed a formal complaint in the county against, in the federal courthouse against, Al Sharpton and, Crump for inciting violence, in my town that would lead to, harm to, just about anybody. And, specifically, our judge, her family, those kids, their families, stuff like that. So I'm going to keep on filing stuff too, because that's what I can do, because I am an American, a real one, and I live here. I can do that.
Bro, these people are no strangers to the courthouse paperwork or the legal system, and they appear to know many of the same people. When a regular citizen walks into a courthouse, you have to wonder whether the people working in those offices already know each other or may even live in the same communities, because these connections can sometimes make people question how the system operates. But bro, did you notice how quickly this man turned the entire conversation around by suggesting that Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton were somehow encouraging violence and causing problems in the community? When someone says, I do not like what they're doing in my town, people are naturally going to question what exactly is meant by those words and whether there is something deeper behind the statement. It also brings back memories of that old viral picture from Booker T. Washington High School in Norfolk, Virginia, that was given the controversial label, "Every White Girl's Dad Nightmare." Do y'all remember when that image spread all over the internet? Bro, people were not treating that conversation like a simple joke, because it touched on serious issues involving race relationships and social tensions. There have been people online who openly discuss their feelings about interracial relationships, and that is part of why this old image is being mentioned again. Now, Nolan Wells was photographed with not one white woman, but two, and there are also claims that he met another woman before the incident that raises questions about whether the person he met had any connection to what happened, or whether someone could have intentionally brought him into a dangerous situation. But was she actually involved, or is that just speculation right now? Did someone lure him there and set him up for failure? That is only a question at this point, and everything being discussed remains alleged until credible evidence confirms what really happened.
Legend.
I got a story to tell. Story time. But first, this boy in Mississippi, here's some pictures that's come out. Remember he had the three YT friends? Look at these pictures. They got sick and tired. I'm not saying they did nothing. I'm just saying they're sick and tired. We ain't letting them take our women no more. That's over with, I'm telling y'all. My YT boys are waking up. I'm speaking faith. All across the nation, you're going to see this happen. White men being white men again.
Listen, man, where do y'all think these fresh and fit movements and these men going their own way ideas come from? And all of that stuff, these attitudes, can sometimes come from frustration and resentment that started when they were younger, especially after struggling with dating and feeling rejected. And when they see black men on TikTok dancing, having fun, and enjoying themselves like we have seen Nolan Wells doing, they may not like it, because those men are out. They're laughing, enjoying life, and getting attention. Check this out.
The amount of times I've been on dates with white men and they've asked me if I've dated black guys before is ridiculous. I was on a date with this white guy in Chicago last year and he goes, so who do you typically date? The guys that look like me? I knew exactly what he was getting at, because most white guys will ask this question at some point because they're trying to figure out ultimately if you're, quote, tainted. I literally said to him, does it bother you that you think about black men so much more than they will ever think about you? And that ended the conversation, but obviously we didn't go on a second date, and I do think he was pretty offended by that. But the amount of white guys, even who are, quote, liberal, who are genuinely threatened and intimidated by you going on a date with people of color is ridiculous. Because it's not just black men. If they find out that you've dated a South Asian man or you've been on dates with women, specifically women of color, they will react similarly. Although it is obviously the most pronounced and genuinely disgusted that they will look if you say that you have been on dates with black men. But this is just one example of white men trying to figure out the, quote, purity of the white women they're seeing. And it's a way of resource guarding their own women because they don't like white women seeing other races or other genders.
This right here is what shows you how some people want the world to perceive us. They want people to believe that we are slow, that we cannot read, and that we do not know how to swim. But if we supposedly cannot do all these things, then why do they need us to help build America? And why do they need us to teach them so many things? People should look up the book The 13th Tribe and learn more about the history and claims discussed in it, because there are many different narratives about where people
Of what? 65 IQ? That's average. Inability to read and write at an adult level? I'm supposed to be jealous of these things, of these qualities? Pigs have a 65 IQ, the equivalent. Give me a fucking break.
These are the people you see in the gym throwing weights. They be dropping weights. They be so damn frustrated. These are the type of people you see at a construction site. You see them working on something and they start throwing wrenches and underscore because they're so upset they cannot figure out these are those guys, these big thumb guys, these are those guys right here.
Of eye colors, brown, and also brown. Scratch that one off. What else could I be jealous of? Hair color.
These are the ones throwing on them dark ass shades. You know, you can read someone's spirit. And people always say the eyes are the window to the soul. Now you see why some of these guys wear them dark ass shades all the time and starting to think they go to bed in them damn shades. For what? Because maybe they do not want people looking into their eyes now. This is a sister that's in the army, and anybody that's been in the army, y'all let me know. Is this true? But why is it that black men seem to dominate in so many different sports now? I'm not saying there aren't white athletes. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just asking as a whole, is this something that some people may be jealous of?
Let's be honest. We all know this shit ain't got nothing to do with a motherfucking beard. White men are jealous of black men, especially in the army. You see it every day. No matter what color, race, anything you see how them black men get treated. Even from basic training, I've never heard a drill sergeant say to a white male, oh, you think you're back on the block. They only say that to white dudes. I mean, to black dudes. They only say it to the black soldiers. That right there is just evident in how racist and stereotypical they are. But when it comes down to it, what they be the most mad about is that black people naturally and effortlessly exceed the standard physically in everything they do. And white men, while they can, and they do, they have to put a lot more work in it. With black people, that shit come easily. So
no, you can't go to college because we're supposedly slow. We supposedly don't know how to read. So how does she go to college? How does she earn her education and build a successful career? That does not make any sense.
Gladys grew up on a small family farm in rural daughter of sharecroppers. As high school valedictorian, she earned a scholarship to Virginia State College, where she studied mathematics.